Good morning. My name is Mark Galang. I'm your district superintendent, and it's a joy to be with you all this morning. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be with you all. There's one thing probably that you should know about me. I'm not that high liturgical person that when I came in and I was talking to Belinda about me wearing a robe today, she said, you can. And so we went into the one of the rooms, and I put on my robe and then realized that I brought a wrong stole. So I said, could I just be, because I think whenever I think about Epiphany or the end of this Christmas season, the only thing that comes to mind is that's when we take down the Christmas trees and take down the Christmas decors. Anyhow, in my preparation for today's sermons, my friend, for today's sermon, my friends, I was reminded of T.S. Eliot's classic poem, Journey of the Magi. So I reread it, and I tried to use the words of the poet as my inspiration, or tried to find inspiration in the words of the poet in imagining what a journey it could have been for this man who first followed the star of Christmas. Indeed, if you're familiar with that poem, T.S. Eliot imagined it as a difficult journey, right? He used the perspective of one of the Magi in telling their story. And in his imagination, that journey was a difficult journey all the way through, from beginning to end. In fact, the poet even suggests that the challenges did not cease once they returned home. They continued on. And reading this poem, I found myself agreeing with the poet that surely the lives of the Magi were completely changed by this single journey that they have taken. Based on traditions and stories that we grew up hearing, they had no doubt risked their fortunes, their reputations for this epic journey. But then they realized as they were going through it that their purpose was nearly thwarted and their lives were threatened by a paranoid ruler in Herod. Also, we know that this journey started with their desire to see a royalty, only to realize that the royalty that they were looking for, and they ended up, right, kneeling before a baby born of poor parents. And it happened not in Jerusalem as they expected, but in an out-of-the-way place called Bethlehem. I'm trying to imagine and trying to realize, and I started to realize that probably they had dreams. I would even say nightmares about this journey for the rest of their lives. Probably as they continue to ponder and continue to wonder the meaning of the journey that they have taken and the sacrifices that they have made for this journey. Probably they're trying, they would have dreams and, as I've said, nightmares as they try to figure out what would have happened to that little child after they heard Herod's plan for the child. Probably they started to wonder, what does this all mean for the world? And was it worth it? Was it worth it? And so as I was thinking about this wise men, this Magi, and and the rest of their companions, I also found myself wondering, asking myself, what could have steered in their hearts to compel them to risk so much for something that they don't know? I was wondering what the deep yearning was that they had to travel so far and take on this journey. And as I think of them, I also found myself thinking of all of us and wondering about the similar journeys that we may have taken in our lives. You know, I'm talking about those journeys when we go to those uncharted territories in our lives, when we go and take a journey, right, where we risk so much, where we risk our reputation, where we risk our resources, where we risk something. And what does it make such journeys possible? What does it take to make those journeys necessary? And what does it take to make those journeys preferable for each and every one of us? Now, just speaking for myself, I also started to wonder, what is my sign up in the sky? You know, they had the star for their sign that started this journey. What is my star? What is my sign up in the sky? What is a communication from God that would make me go deep and make me go far to take an epic journey? You know, as I continue to ponder on these things, it is then that I realized that this is what Epiphany is all about. Right? This is what Epiphany is all about. That Epiphany, which is easily translated as a moment of revelation, is simply like an aha moment. Aha moment, and it always, and those aha moments, they always happen when we least expect. Epiphanies, they're always about unexpected moments. It could be unexpected joys or victories. It could be unexpected challenges and tragedies. But this is what I'm sure. It's always unexpected. You can't plan them. They are aha moments for a reason. And these unexpected revelations, they often push us or pull us or stretch us in multiple directions. But basically, they are there to challenge us to reconsider what we think we already know. I mean, they are there to help us rethink, help us change our minds and our ways. I mean, the direction that we are on in this journey. You know, these days, I know many people, and in my role, many churches, who are going through unexpected turns in their journeys of life. Some are making a leap of faith, probably moving to a new place or seeking a new job, a new opportunity, or opening a new chapter in their lives. Basically, they're entering an unknown with excitement. But also there are people who are going through this in the other way. They're coming to these unexpected situations filled with anxiety and uncertainty. I know many people, and I know many churches who still feel the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. And this leaves them very anxious and very uncertain during this time. And then there are others who may have experienced an unexpected loss of a loved one probably during the holidays, or an expected illness that was diagnosed. And this had changed their lives as well as most of their plans in the next few months. But I'm guessing, my guess is, we all know this predicament. Because all of us somehow, somewhere, may also have traveled down this road that caught us by surprise and forced us to reevaluate our plans in life. This is what I know about life. Sometimes life take all of us to routes that we have never expected to travel. We can make all our plans, right? But that doesn't guarantee that our plans would happen. Those curveballs, they happen all the time. Life takes us to routes we had never expected. Whether these involve changes in employment or deterioration in health or strains in relationships or change in whatever, economic status. But friends, when life forces us away from the familiar highways onto these uncharted paths, often they become opportunities. They become opportunities for us to hear and experience God's call once more. We just need to pay a closer attention to what God might be telling us. We just need to be ready to be astonished and to be surprised of where they could lead us. Because sometimes these unexpected turns, they are actually epiphanies. These paths, though they are seldom easy, but when they're embraced, they could become doorways that could lead us to unexpected possibilities, even for vocation or mission and transformation. God is revealing something new all the time if we are only willing to pay attention. You know, when I was writing that part of the sermon, I was reminded of Moana. So it just probably tells you another thing about myself. We have a little one at home. She's now 8, but I remember when she was younger, Moana is playing in our TV all the time. I mean, it's on repeat mode, and it just continues on and on and on. I think that's why the story, the images were etched in my mind. That when I was writing the sermon, I was reminded of a scene in Moana. It was the scene when Moana summons her courage and enters the cave. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie, right? She enters this cave and finds out that her ancestors didn't play it safe on the island as she thought they did for a long time. But what she learned was they were in fact sea-going voyagers who discovered new lands all the time. That they were like the pilgrims of old who often went out to the sea in their tiny boats, right? With the belief that God would guide them to their future destinations. They believe that amidst the winds and the waves, there's a guiding force that's leading them to where they should be. Friends, as God's people, I think that's also our hope. That as we journey on our own uncharted paths, this new year, let us all know that God is there to guide us and God is there to reveal to us new roads. For this is exactly what it means when we proclaim that the God that we worship is ever present. This is what it means when we proclaim during the Christmas season, Emmanuel, that God is with us. For God is with us in certainty and in uncertainty. Because our faith tells us that God is with us in celebration and in grief. For our faith tells us that God is with us in times of joy and in times of sorrow. It means that as we face the call to take on new paths in life in this new year, whether that's by desire or design or by necessity, be assured that God is there, leading us in our lives, giving us insights, providing us new opportunities, as well as awakening in us unexpected strength and energy. We just need to be attentive to God and to God's presence during those uncertain times. You know, one of my favorite Psalms is Psalm 139. And Psalm 139 clearly reminds me of this wonderful truth about God's presence in uncharted territories. Let me read to you an excerpt from Psalm 139. It says, "Is there any place I can go to avoid your spirit, to be out of your sight? If I climb to the sky, you are there. If I go underground, you are there. If I flew on morning's wings to the far western horizon, you'd find me in a minute. You're already there waiting." And then I said to myself, "Oh, he even sees me in the dark. At night, I'm immersed in the light." It's a fact. Darkness isn't dark to you. Night and day, darkness and light, they're all the same to you. You know, this reminds us that truly God is with us on every road that we travel. Friends, I believe that knowing this makes our every journey a holy adventure with surprises and epiphanies around every corner. Let me pause here, because I want to be clear that I'm not saying that God is the source of the tragedies in our lives, like the loss of jobs or homes or trauma or diseases in our families that could lead to epiphanies. But what I'm actually saying is this, and I would like you to hear this. What I'm actually saying is that I believe God is the creative source of possibility and our great companion in all of our journeys. And God, in God's goodness, leads us to these epiphanies. In the season of Epiphany, God calls us to wake up to new revelations that stretches us, that surprises us, that eventually transforms us. I'm sure the Magi's in our gospel story were never the same after their encounter with the Christ child. after their long travels, after all that they have done, I'm sure their lives have changed because of that one epic journey. I'm sure that they have learned to listen to God even better. Because the story tells us that they started hearing God speaking to them through the star. Then as they went on their journey, they also learned that God can also speak even through Herod and his staff. That's why they found Jesus in Bethlehem. But then they also learned that God could also speak through their dreams and through angels. They learned that God's revelations can be found everywhere, in every situation, in every moment. And I think so must we. That these revelations have led them to an adventure that was life-changing, that led them to take another road on their way home, that led them to become new people. And so we are also being invited, as we welcome this new year, as we are invited to take a new adventure. I don't know what that means for you, but all I know is that God may be preparing a new adventure for you. I just want you to continue to pay attention. Continue to be ready to be surprised, to be amazed. And continue to take on this adventure, knowing that God is with us. Because epiphanies, my friends, they are everywhere. They are there all the time. It's not just one Sunday in a year. I know God is here to show us new ways, to show us new forms, to create new things in us. We just have to be attentive, to pay attention, be ready to be surprised, and be ready to tell your stories. Amen.